Hello and good morning. Those of you that know me from CAE know that I often like to start out with some humor. And as I prepared for this virtual event, I was thinking to myself, I won't be able to hear you laugh or not laugh. And so I wasn't sure if humor would be any fun at all today. And then I realized that most of my jokes anyway were about Tammy and Chris pulling me off the stage after my 4 minutes was up. And in fact, here in this pre-recorded video, there is nobody to pull me off stage. So we will see at the end of that whether or not that's good for you. You let me know. Anyway, my name is Petra and I'm from the R2 Performance Center. How I normally introduce myself is just that, and I often don't explain what R2 is, and today I think is a better day to explain what R2 means. So R2 is ready and resilient. We are the people, me and my team, there's 10 of us here at Fort Carson. Our job is to help you remain psychologically, socially, emotionally ready and resilient. And we're here for you always, but I think we're here for you in particular now. We really want to be here for you, especially now. And Major General McFarland asked our team to find ways to support you virtually, to instead of doing our in-person training, to find things to do online. And so that's what we're going to do. So here today is our first go at that. And before I jump into some skills in a minute, I want to just give you a little bit more about how we are going to try to support you all virtually. So our main platform is going to be our Facebook page, and that's Fort Carson R2 Performance Center. There we're going to try to do content, skills, themes, articles, anything we can post that's going to help you remain ready and resilient basically during this time. I'm sure that Tammy is going to post that resource, but if you want to take a note now, it's R2 or Fort Carson R2 Performance Center. All right, with all that taken care of, let's jump in for today. So the very first thing that I want you to do is take a deep breath. So lower your eyes, close your eyes. Now, here's my question. How many of you just kept breathing normally and kind of waited for me to keep talking? How many of you maybe actually took a deep breath? And how many of you rolled your eyes or scoffed? Now, listen, and maybe even some of you thought, you know what, if one more person tells me to take a deep breath. Here's the thing. My point of this activity is that you have the skills, you have the resources, you have the strengths already within you to remain ready and resilient during this challenging time. It's about using them. So one of the things that we talk about on day one of our Master Resilience Trainer course is this idea of ordinary magic. And what we mean by that is resilient people aren't special. They didn't get some lucky mix of genes that made them magically resilient. More often than not, what research shows us is that, in fact, resilient people, the most resilient people, have an ordinary set of skills, strengths, things that they pull on, they marshal, they use in the moment that they need them. And in that way, resilience sometimes looks like magic, but when we pull back the curtain with research, what we see is that it's ordinary skills. It's things that people have inside them, and they just find the way to use them in the moment that they need them the most. So, my very first bit for you all today is that you already have it within you to be resilient, not just to survive this, but to thrive through it. So look inside first. Now, I'll continue today. The second place I want to go is that maybe there's a specific area that you could tune into. And the place I want to encourage you to start looking from the get-go is the first two competencies from our resilience curriculum, which are self-awareness and self-regulation. And in particular today, I want you to pay attention to tune into your emotions. Why emotions? Because in tight living quarters, which a lot of us are going to be up against here soon, right? Think your house with your spouse and your kids for an extended period of time. You with me? Okay. Research tells us that it is nearly impossible to not be affected by the emotions of those around us. And so we want to build resilience through connection, and our emotional state can make or break that. So even if you're a single soldier in the barracks by yourself, listen, these emotional awareness skills and regulation skills can help you too. By being aware of your own emotions, learning to regulate them will help you to stay grounded, even in the absence of others. So here's a few key points that I want to hit. First and foremost, big myth. Emotional regulation does not mean not feeling. It doesn't even mean exerting tight control over what we're feeling. And it doesn't mean banishing negative emotions. In fact, it's the opposite of that. Emotional regulation starts with giving ourselves and the people around us permission to feel all of the emotions without judgment. So how do we do that? First, start by seeing emotions as information. They're just a news report about what's happening inside of us, right? It's a reflection of our internal reaction to internal and external events that we're experiencing. Our body puts all that together, sends it up to the mind, it analyzes it, and what we do is we call that a feeling. Second, I want you to work on labeling our emotions, okay? There's great neuroscience out there that confirms that if you can name it, you can tame it. And when you realize you or someone around you is experiencing an emotion, maybe a particularly strong emotion, we want you to work on labeling that. Give it a name and be as specific as you can. Is it anger, frustration, irritation, rage? Those are all in the same family of emotion, but they're different. We talk about that a lot in our resilience course. Get as specific as you can with labeling your emotions. Third, I want you to express your emotions. Doesn't mean flying off the handle. It doesn't mean necessarily breaking down, but there are strategies. Talk or write. Research shows us that if we talk to other people, it can help us to shift how we feel, and it builds connection. Maybe if talking isn't your thing, write. Research shows that writing about emotionally significant issues can help boost your immune function. Something we could probably all use right now. Number 4, practice grace. And what I mean by that is what worked for you yesterday might not work for you today. What works for you to regulate your emotions and yourself in these challenging times might not work for your kid or your spouse. And so let's stop worrying so much and stop focusing so much and trying to change how other people feel about this, and simply show up. Be there for people. Hey, can I give you a hug? I'm here anytime you want to talk, whether that's on FaceTime, via the phone for someone who's alone. All right, so recapping where we're at. First, you have it in you. You already have the skills, you have the strengths, and what I want you to do is to look inside first. What is it within you that you can pull on in this moment to stay resilient, to not just survive through this, but really to thrive and find joy in a new experience as much as we can. Second, tune into your emotions. Self-awareness, self-regulation. Key parts of that: emotions are simply information. They're data about what's going on for us. Get curious. The next part of that is label our emotions. Be as specific as you can. Third, express them. Talk, write, do something. And fourth, practice grace with ourselves and with the people around us, knowing that we're all going through something different. We're all, while experiencing the same thing, have different feelings and emotions, and that's okay. Giving ourselves that space, showing up for one another is going to be probably, in my opinion, the first and most critical step to remaining resilient through all this. Let's stay connected. Again, my name is Petra. I'm from R2, which is Ready and Resilient, from the Performance Center here at Fort Carson. My whole team, all 10 of us, are going to be on Facebook trying to create content, classes, some ideas, articles to show up for you. So connect with us there. Hope to see you again soon. Take care.